Welcome to Google Calendar. For many people, email and calendars are a source of frustration and stress. The way you utilize these tools can make or break your work productivity. In this course, we're going to cover the basic settings and features of Google Calendar that will set you up for success. Hello everyone, I'm Heather Matisse, your instructor for this course. I'm a certified Google educator and a certified Google trainer. I have spent more than 11 years in the world of learning and development, specifically focusing on tech tools in higher education and corporate spaces. I'm known for finding the most efficient way to use a tool. In this course, we will begin with a dive through the Google Calendar settings, both on the outside main screen and inside the settings menu. Next, we'll spend 2 lessons diving into all the settings and tips for creating events. This will include saving time with repeating events, utilizing the Find a Time feature, selecting and reserving meeting rooms, and communicating clearly with the use of detailed event descriptions. We'll also cover Google Calendar's built-in task tool, out-of-office tool, and working location tool. We'll also spend a lesson covering the appointment schedule feature of Google Calendar, which allows you to create an efficient booking system to share with others. With the tips and features of Google Calendar covered in this course, you'll save time, work more efficiently, and have clear communication with others. So buckle up your seatbelts and let's get started. Go ahead and log into your Google account and meet me over in the first lesson. See you there! Hi everyone, and welcome back to our course on Google Calendar. In this lesson, we're going to look at settings to make Google Calendar work for you, keeping you in the loop and maybe even cutting out a few emails from your life. First, let's navigate our way over to the web-based version of Google Calendar, taking note that the app on a mobile device will have a different interface. Once you are here, you will notice a few settings that we will have along the left and along the top right. Beginning with the top right, there are 2 icons to help switch between Google Calendar and Google Tasks. To the left, you have view options such as viewing your calendar by day, week, month, year, schedule, etc. While here, notice the letters written with each view. These indicate a keyboard shortcut for switching between these views. Simply click that letter on your keyboard to switch to the different views corresponding to that letter. Next, to the left of View Options is the Google Settings gear, Support, and then Search. Along the left side of the screen, you have Create, and below that is a small calendar in month view. Below that, you can search for people in your domain, which will reveal their calendar to help you determine if they are available or busy. Below that, you have your Insights and then your personal calendars, followed by Other calendars. Other calendars are those that you have added or have been invited to access. Back to the top right, clicking on the Settings gear, the options are Settings, Trash, Density and Color, Print, and an option to get add-ons. Speaking of add-ons, you can select options or add more from the side panel. Going into the calendar settings, notice the menu of options down the left side of the screen for quick access, or you can scroll down the center of the screen. One important note here is that there is no save button as you make adjustments to these settings. So any changes that you make are automatic, and you can use the back arrow beside of settings in the top left corner to get back to your calendar. Scrolling down these general settings, you can adjust your time zone or allow it to be adjusted based on your current location. If you are frequently scheduling meetings with others outside of your time zone, select Show World Clock. Next is default event settings when creating a new event. Both 30 minutes and 60 minutes are the standard, but pick what works best for your line of work. You can select as low as 15 minutes or as much as 120 minutes. This is just the default, and you can manually adjust as you create events. You may decide to turn on speedy meetings, which will end your 30-minute meetings 5 minutes early and your longer meetings 10 minutes early. This allows for transitions between events and thus protecting and respecting each other's time. Additional defaults here include your default guest permissions and when to add invitations to your calendar. Notification settings. Don't overlook these. These help you remain on time and aware of upcoming events, especially when you're busy. So here's a pro tip. Turn on desktop notifications and then get your Google Calendar app on your phone or mobile device, such as an iPad, and turn on the push notifications for calendar events. Now, if you're working on your computer, you'll get an alert about an upcoming event. If you're away from your computer with your phone or your iPad, you'll get the push notification about the upcoming event. Next is view options, so set these for your personal preference. Following this is events from Gmail. You may have noticed suggestions in Gmail to add a calendar event, so turn this on to further help your Google tools help you save time. Now we've made it down to working hours and locations. If you are working in an environment with others, it is important to set your working hours and locations because it informs others when you're available. This helps prevent unnecessary emails back and forth. Imagine the time and emails that can be saved with this, so spend time setting this up. Right below this section is keyboard shortcuts, which are useful, so you may want to enable that here. Scrolling down, you have offline access along with appointment schedules. There is more in here, but skip down to your main calendar, probably labeled as the name on your Google account. When working with others, it's important to set up your access permissions for events and share your calendar with specific people or groups. If you have a business or school account, you are within your own Google domain, meaning all users are under that at xyzcompany.com, or it could be at xyzuniversity.edu. As with sharing Google Drive files, you can share your calendar either within your domain or outside of your domain to the public. So for example, depending on your line of work and level of collaboration or communication with others, you may wish to turn on the option to make your calendar events available to your domain. Notice here it will say that the school or company domain that you are under. You can then allow to show free/busy for your events, or you can select all event details. Along with this is specific people or groups. You may want to give a manager or a boss access to see all details. Maybe you want to give your team or another department access to see free, busy, or full details. This is the section you specify people or groups as opposed to the whole domain. Remember, this significantly saves time in emails, so set this up to work best for you and those you work with. You do still have the ability on individual events to mark them as private, so you can still hide personal events and notes like doctor appointments for those that you have given all details access. Speaking of emails, make sure to check out the Other Notifications section so that you can set when to receive email notifications. You may want to turn off event responses or turn off daily agenda. Awesome, so that's it for our first look at settings. Meet me over in the next lesson where we talk about creating events. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our course on Google Calendar. In this lesson, we're going to take our first look at creating events. To begin, start in the web-based version of Google Calendar. You may be in day, week, month, or year view. I am in week view so that you can see the events that I'm going to create on the calendar. There are 3 ways to begin an event. You can either click Create in the top left corner and then select Event. This will open a small pop-up event window in the center of your screen. The other option to begin an event is to simply click anywhere on the calendar or drag and drop to select a time frame, and then that same small event window will pop open. Now my favorite is the keyboard shortcut, the letter C. This takes you to the full screen event creation as opposed to that smaller pop-up window. Looking at this smaller pop-up event creation window, the first step is to select what you're adding to your calendar. So notice that you have options such as event, task, and appointment schedule on a personal Google account. If you have an education or business account, you may see additional options here such as focus time, out of office, and working location. Creating a regular event, select the date and adjust the time frame. Click Does Not Repeat to set a repeating event. Your options are daily, weekly, monthly, annually, or you can customize what days of the week this may repeat. When you are in the customization window, you can also select if this repeating event ends on a certain date or after a certain number of occurrences. This is great if you're adding your daily lunch breaks to your calendar or any sort of repeating meetings. Also located here is Find a Time, which we will revisit later. Next, we can add our guests, which may be individuals or groups. So for example, when working under a domain with a business or school account, you may have groups or departments such as marketing at xyzcompany.com, or maybe it's HR at xyzcompany.com. If you type in the group as a guest, all members of that group will be added to the event, which is much more efficient than adding each person individually, especially for those large groups of people. When you add additional guests other than yourself, Google Calendar is going to automatically add a Google Meet video conferencing link to the event. You can remove it, keep it, or you can switch it to another tool such as Zoom if you have that add-on added to your Google Calendar. Don't forget to add a location if needed, especially for those in-person meetings. Speaking of which, if you have an education or business account, you may see the option that says Room. This allows you to search for and reserve rooms for this particular meeting. This is a great way, again, to save time on communication with the rest of your organization. Think of all the emails, chats, and phone calls that can be saved. Now, let's look at an overlooked yet very powerful feature of Google Calendar events, the description. Give meeting attendees the purpose or the reason or the why for the meeting. One great way to do this is with a list of meeting objectives. Objectives should be measurable and begin with an action verb. This not only makes the purpose of the meeting clear, it also gives you goals to accomplish at that meeting. Because the objectives are measurable, you and attendees will be able to determine if the meeting objectives were met or not. If they were not met, you and others have a starting point for future meetings or possible action items for after the meeting. To write these objectives, you can start out with something like, by the end of this meeting, we will be able to, and then use the bullet points or numbers to list out 2 to 5 objectives. Great measurable action verbs are create or compare, discuss, identify, maybe complete, analyze, or plan. Another thing to add in the description is a list of items that you need attendees to either accomplish or think about before coming to the meeting. This is what I like to call Lesson 0 or Action 0. You are getting everyone on the same playing field before beginning the meeting. Again, it's all about saving time and creating a productive and efficient environment for everyone. If you have an education or business account, you will see an additional button here to create meeting notes, which will automatically create a Google Doc for the meeting and automatically attach it here to the event so that both you and guests will never lose it. Another pro tip, create this meeting notes document right now before sending out the event to everyone. You can always go in and add those pre-meeting notes later as the date approaches or the day of. And ask everyone to look at the meeting document to access links and follow along during the meeting. If you happen to have additional calendars, at the very bottom is where you can adjust which calendar this event is on. There is also an option to set the event as free or busy. The default is set to busy. We'll talk about appointment schedules and find a time coming up, so it's important to adjust the default busy to free for events where you are actually available. So for example, you may put an event on the calendar that says you're in the office from 8 to 12. but you're available to meet, so make sure that that event says free. Also, switch the default visibility to private for things such as your doctor appointments that you've added to your calendar. Last, set your notifications and make sure to click Save. That probably seems like both a lot and a little all at the same time. There's actually a whole lot more in here for us to do, which makes Google Calendar so powerful. Meet me over in the next lesson where we talk about creating events a little bit more. See you there. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our course on Google Calendar. In this lesson, we're going to continue looking at how to create events. Let's start where we left off. When you click a calendar event, a window with event details appears. For existing events, you have options in the top right corner, such as the pencil for editing the event and the trash can to delete the event, a mail icon to email the event details, and then 3 dots with options to print, duplicate, publish the event, or change the owner of the event. One little hidden feature of calendar events, you can right-click and select a color. If you completed the Gmail course, you'll remember from our discussion of labels the importance of color. Our brain will recognize color in images faster than it will recognize text, so use that to train your brain with your calendar just as you do with color on labels and filters in your Gmail. First, select the 3 dots on your main calendar and select a main color. All events will default to this color. A little pro tip here, don't pick a bright red, orange, or yellow because your brain already associates these as being important or warning. Now, right-click on an event and you can select a color to change it from that default. For example, you may have lunch blocks on your calendar, so maybe we should make those gray. For an important meeting, maybe mark it red. And for an important project, maybe mark it yellow. The key is to reserve the brighter colors for items that are urgent or important or special, and everything else on your calendar should be light or monotone. Utilizing this correctly will allow your brain to catch and notice these special events, improving your organization and productivity. We looked at the small pop-up event. Now let's look at the full screen event window. So let's create an event and click More Options, or remember that keyboard shortcut, the letter C. Now that we're here, along the top and down the left, you'll see all of the same settings that were in this smaller pop-up window that we looked at before. The difference here is you have guests on the right as well as guest permissions. By default, your guest can invite others and see who else is on the guest list, so come here to adjust as needed. You can also toggle guests as required versus optional attendance with a little person icon that appears beside of their name. Now, let's use Find a Time. First, add some guests. Over on the left, you can now select Find a Time. This shows both your calendar and your guest's calendar. This ties back to those calendar settings we talked about, so make sure your domain can see Free Busy if you have a business or education account, or at a minimum, give individuals or groups permission to see your calendar. Again, you can select just Free Busy or all event details. So think about the emails, the chats, the phone calls that we could all save with this. Along the top of Find a Time, you can switch from day view to week view. You can also change all guests versus required guests only. If you have an education or business account, you will notice that you also have an option to view the availability of a specific room that you have selected. Again, the time we can save with this. Make any additional event settings and then make sure to save your event. In most cases, it is best to send emails to the guests when you save. Back to creating on Google Calendar, remember you can toggle between calendar and tasks in the top right corner. Along the left, you can add additional task lists other than the default list, which is called My List. Toggle back to the calendar and click on the calendar to create an event and select Task. Give the task a short title and use the description for a larger body of information or to add a link. These tasks can be tied to a specific date as an all-day task. Tasks can be tied to a specific time, similar to events. Or from the task window, as opposed to the calendar window, you can add tasks that do not have a date or time. Tasks are essentially like a to-do list, but synced with your calendar. You can select Marked Complete when a task is done. This will put a slash through the task, as well as dim the color on the task. Similar to changing the color of your main calendar, you can change the default display color of your tasks. Click the three dots and select Color. For those of you with an education and business account, you have the option to create focus time. This allows you to set specific time range when you would like to not be disturbed. If your team is utilizing Google Chat, this will mute your chat notifications so that you can keep working without interruptions. You can also automatically decline any meeting invites if needed. You can also set if your focus time is in a specific room or location, and add an additional description or attachments if needed, and down at the bottom you can change the visibility or which calendar this is actually going to go on. Also, for our business and education users, you can set an out-of-office event with the option to automatically decline any meeting events. You can change your visibility of this event. One really important feature is to customize your message. So, for example, if you're on vacation, maybe you're on medical leave, whatever it may be, you can use this space to be specific. So, how long will you be away? Or when will you return? Are you checking emails when you're away or not until you return? Who is maybe the point of contact while you're away? As with everything else we've talked about with Google, it's important to utilize features such as out of office to communicate across to Google Chat and to Gmail. It's about saving time and communicating efficiently with others through these tools. The last option for our business and education users is working location. This is where you can set specific campuses or buildings or locations that you tend to be in. This may include if you are working from home. Again, this helps others understand your availability in person or virtually. Awesome, so meet me over in the next lesson where we talk about appointment schedules. See you there! Hi everyone, and welcome back to our course on Google Calendar. In this lesson, we're going to look at appointment schedules. Google Calendar's bookable appointment schedule is an efficient way to allow others to book appointments or schedule time with you. The great thing about this feature is it syncs with your existing calendar in real time, automatically, meaning that lunch break you added, or that out of office, or that focus time you added, maybe a meeting that you said yes to, all of those times are automatically removed from the booking page so that others see your real-time availability. In addition, once they book a meeting or appointment with you, an event is automatically added to both your calendar and their calendar. There are two ways to begin. If you select Create and then select Appointment Schedule, it will take you to a full screen appointment schedule calendar. On the other hand, you can drag and drop and select a time frame on your calendar just as you do in creating an event. Then select Appointment Schedule. If you happen to already have an existing schedule, you will be prompted here to either select this availability to add to an existing schedule or to create a new appointment schedule. Click Continue to access the full screen appointment schedule window that we saw before. So first thing we're going to do is give it a title. This could be as simple as office hours, or maybe it is your name. Next, set your duration. One good rule of thumb here is to go on the lower end of time for the duration, and if someone needs a larger amount of time with you, they can simply double book. For general availability, you can set the schedules to repeat weekly or set as does not repeat. Also, under General Availability, select the days and the times that you are available. Remember that this syncs and reads your calendar, meaning you can put 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. as long as you have that lunch break on your calendar. You have other events marked as busy, you responded yes or no to other events you're invited to, you've got your out of office and focus time on your calendar. As long as those times are on there and marked as busy, those times will be protected and not show up on the appointment schedule. The other option here is to do specific days and times, such as Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, or maybe Tuesday, Thursday afternoons. They don't have to be all-day events, so customize it to fit your line of work. Next is the scheduling window. It can begin right now or start and end on a specific date. You can select the maximum time in advance that your appointment schedule can be booked. The default is 60 days. Also select the minimum time before the appointment starts that it can be booked. It really depends on your line of work and personal preference, so use this setting strategically. Next, you have adjusted availability, followed by additional settings such as your buffer time, which is the time between appointment slots. You may also decide to set a maximum number of bookings per day. Again, this will depend on your line of work. For those with business and education accounts, you can also select for your appointment schedule to look at additional calendars other than your main calendar, as well as add people to co-host the appointment with you. When you have all of these initial settings set, make sure to click Next. Your booking page will show your photo from your Google account along with your name. Your next option is location and conferencing, which you can select to automatically be video conferencing with Google Meet, to be in person, to be a phone call, or you can select none and specify later. We're going to look at a trick with this, so I'm going to select none. Remember to utilize the description to add notes for the people visiting your booking page. Add that note about signing up for double bookings if they need additional time. Maybe specify the things that you can or cannot help with, or maybe refer them to places where they can get certain resources or information. Next is the booking form, which is very important. So by default, it will collect the guest's first name, last name, and their email address. Click on Add an Item. The choices are phone number or custom item. With these, you can require a response or leave it optional. If you select None for the location earlier, one great custom item here is location. Ask them, do you want to meet in person or virtually? Maybe mark this as required and then select Add Item. Repeat for additional custom items such as maybe the reason for the meeting. Depending on your line of work, there may be additional information you would like to collect before you meet with this person. Last option is booking confirmations and reminders. With a regular Google account, you and the person who made the appointment will get an email confirmation along with the calendar invitation. For those with a business or education account, you can select additional email reminders for the person who made the appointment. When you're done, click Save. Appointment schedules appear behind the rest of your regular events and indicated with the square block icon. You can click on that to see it and to edit it at any time, as well as to access or share your booking page. From the booking page, guests will see your availability, they'll select a time, fill out the information that you require, and then click Book. Again, this event is automatically placed on their calendar and on your calendar. Unless you turned off email notifications, you'll receive an email that this time was booked, in addition to seeing it appear on your calendar. Your attendance will automatically be marked as yes, so if for some reason you are not available, make sure to open that special booking event and select Cancel Appointment in the bottom right corner. Awesome. As we've talked about many times, the goal here is to increase productivity and improve communication so that we are all working more efficiently. Meet me over the next lesson. See you there. Hi everyone, for exercise 1, your task is to create a recurring daily lunch block on your Google Calendar. Pause the video and take your time working through this task. When you're ready, press play to see the solution worked out. Okay, so how did you do? Let's take a look. First, open the web-based version of Google Calendar because the app interface can be different. Click to create an event and give it a title, such as lunch. Now, click Does Not Repeat. Click Does Not Repeat again, and this time you're going to select every weekday. Add any additional details here, such as location or a description if needed. The default down here is busy, so switch it only if needed, because remember this does impact your appointment schedule. Next, change your visibility and notification if needed, and then click Save. And that's it! How did you do? I'm sure you did a great job. Meet me over in the next lesson. Hi everyone, you made it! Congratulations on making it through all of the lessons and the exercise. Take a moment to think back to where you started and where you are now with all of the Google Calendar tricks under your belt. In this course, you learned about a variety of general settings such as calendar view. Remember those cool keyboard shortcuts? Don't forget to go through all of the Google Calendar settings to set event defaults, notification settings, and access permissions for your events. You learned how to create single and recurring events and the importance of adding details such as descriptions and colors to your events. You learned how to save time and communicate with others more effectively with both Find a Time and appointment schedules. Don't forget to utilize those tasks, focus time, working locations, and out of office to bring all of this together. Great job! Once again, my name is Heather Matisse. I'm happy to have been your instructor. Thank you for being on this Google Calendar journey with me. Remember, the goal is less emails, better collaboration and communication, and increased productivity. Congratulations!